Hi, I've just returned from 2 weeks on board the Seabourn Encore as part of its inaugural Alaska season. In this video, I'm going to talk about was it worth it? Also, what are the key differences I found sailing on Seabourn versus sailing on other premium lines like Holland America or Princess? I'm Angie, I'm a travel agent, and this was my 123rd cruise. I use my personal expertise and experience to help travelers like you make great decisions about your upcoming cruise vacation. Email Angie at tripswithangie.com to find out about current offers. So the first big difference between Seabourn and those other larger cruise lines is obviously the size. The Seabourn Encore has 300 suites up to 600 passengers on board. So this makes a completely different experience than if you were on a ship with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. You see a lot more of the same crew throughout your journey. You see a lot more of the same passengers. It's much easier embarking and disembarking in the different ports. The tender operations where you have to take a small boat to and from shore work much easier. You don't have to sign up for tender tickets. You just line up when it's available. That leads to a second difference I found on board Seabourn, and that is the personalized service. Now, don't get me wrong. We have had exceptional service on Princess and Holland America on all of our cruises. But on Seabourn, it's another level. It's more personalized because the crew see you so often because they move from different venues throughout the day that they really try to learn your name, learn your preferences. You get a chance to chat with them a little bit more. And so we find it's just much more personalized. So for instance, Tarun, who was our waiter every morning at breakfast, at lunch, knew our coffee orders. So the second we walked in to grab a table, that he would have them ordered and they'd be coming to the table right away without us even having to say a word, which was so lovely. The bartenders got to know our preferences. One bartender was even asking us, what infusions we'd like to see, what new cocktails we'd like to see. And it's just that level of personalized service they're able to get because the ship is smaller. And it's also because they're more crew. So the crew to guest ratio on Seabourn is 1.83. On larger ships, you're gonna find it to be 2.5 to 3. So there's just more crew available to help you to make a special experience. Another difference is the itinerary. The Seabourn Encore goes between Vancouver and Juneau. So Vancouver to Juneau, Juneau back to Vancouver. Each is 7-night cruise. That has 2 different itineraries. And I'm gonna do a whole separate video just about these 2 itineraries because on our second itinerary, some people were really disappointed. The first itinerary is more of your classic Alaska hits: Juneau, Ketchikan, Sitka, Icy Strait Point, Haines. The second itinerary is super special. It goes to Wrangell, Prince Rupert, and Alert Bay, 3 much smaller, primarily fishing communities that offer tremendous scenery. It also has more scenic viewing days, and one of the big differences on Seabourn is you have the option to take Zodiacs Kayaks straight from the ship. So this is a game changer when it comes to sailing Alaska, and one of the reasons I was most excited to sail on the Encore. As you know, if you followed me for a while, we've taken 3 Seabourn expedition cruises. Those are those smaller 200-person vessels that offer Zodiacs almost every day. I was so excited to see an itinerary that offered Zodiacs in Alaska. Now, they are an extra charge. So on our sailing, Zodiac Scenic Cruises were $350 per person, and the kayak sessions were $400 per person. But it was absolutely incredible to pull into the Misty Fjords, drop anchor, and then load up on Zodiacs and head out into the beautiful scenery. We also had a chance to explore Dawes Glacier and Cormorant Island, which is just off of Alert Bay. This is a tremendous opportunity that you can have a slightly larger, luxurious ship and still get the opportunity to go out in Zodiacs to get up close and personal to nature and some of the wildlife. This is the big deal. Along with the Zodiac and kayak tours is the team that leads them. And this is another huge benefit that I found on this Seabourn trip. And that is the expedition team, AKA the Red Jackets. These are people that come in who spend a season learning everything about Alaska. We had geologists, marine biologists, bear experts, bird experts, kayak experts that share their knowledge through daily sessions where they call them conversations, where they come in and talk about a key issue, whether it's the history of a special event that happened in Nome, Alaska, the rescuing of an orca by an indigenous community, or just more about humpback whales. We went to one of the best lectures we've ever seen on humpback whales on this cruise, and that adds so much to the experience. I think one thing you can really miss on some of the big cruise lines is the context for what you're seeing, why it's important, why it's different. So having these lectures on board, having these open hours with the expedition team where they would be up on deck with you with their binoculars, trying to find wildlife, explaining where we were, explaining what we were seeing, really adds so much to the experience. Another thing that really sets Seabourn apart is the dining. I really appreciate on the Encore the number of dining options you have available. And this is different even within the Seabourn suite. The Encore, I feel like, has the most when it comes to options available. So for breakfast, you have room service, you have the restaurant, which is order off of a menu, you have the Colonnade, which is the mix of buffet and order off the menu. Then for lunch, on different days, you have sushi every day. The sushi restaurant is available with bento boxes and ramen. On sea days, you'll have the restaurant will be open with special lunches. They had an Alaska fish and chips lunch. They had an Alaska seafood brunch one day. So lots of different options where they brought Alaska into the ship. You also have the Colonnade, which has kind of a burgers and hot dogs order menu with chicken and steak, as well as a large buffet. And then on additional days, you'll have the patio, which is another buffet, which is another small menu you can order from. Then for dinner, you have room service, the restaurant, the Colonnade, the patio, and Solis, which is a specialty restaurant that you do need reservations for. So you have a lot of different options. And the one thing I really appreciate about the Encore is the outdoor seating at both the patio and the Colonnade. We want to sit outside when we cruise Alaska. We want to be able to hear if there's a whale nearby. We want to see the incredible views. They have heaters and blankets to make sure you stay nice and warm. And that is our absolutely favorite thing about sailing on the Seabourn Encore, is that we could have breakfast, lunch, and dinner outside on that back patio at the Colonnade, enjoying this truly special place we were getting to sail through. Now, we had a couple dinners at the restaurant. The restaurant is more of the fine dining option, and it was lovely. It was like the food's really good. You have some really high-end options. But when it came down to being able to really experience Alaska, having that outdoor dining at the Colonnade was so important. And they had like fun, interesting menus. They had a seafood boil. At the patio, they had butter chicken, which is one of my favorite dishes that they make on board the Seabourn Encore. They had halibut, they had salmon, they had an incredible beef ribeye one evening out at the Colonnade. So you're having all of this incredible food in this incredible setting. The other neat thing about dining is the room service. The room service is available 24 hours. It's an extensive menu. And one thing that I think is really special is that you can get the restaurant's menu in your room. So the fine dining restaurant, you can have that menu delivered to your room. So if you don't feel like dressing up, putting on pants, if you're a man, or a jacket or a sweater, but you really want that fine dining food, you can have it delivered. One area where I don't think the Seabourn Encore excels is the cabin. Now, is it a nice mini suite? Absolutely. It's very comfortable. Our cabin stewards were amazing. It has kind of a separate area with a couch and desk. You can pull a curtain closed. It has a nice large balcony, but the bathroom is a little bit small, I think, for a suite. You have a separate bathtub and shower, which means the shower is very small. So this is one area where I wouldn't just sail the Seabourn Encore for the suite. I think there are other premium lines that do a much better job when it comes to their mini suite or suite category, to be honest. And the last thing we always need to compare is the price. So here I've compared the 7-night Vancouver to Juneau on Seabourn Encore for next year, because I think it's better to not include last minute deals or prices that might be inflated because there aren't a lot of cabins left. So we'll look at next year, June, 7 nights on the Seabourn Encore, the Vancouver to Juneau, because that has more ports in common with the 7-night mini suite with the Princess Premier package or the 7-night Vista suite on the Holland America Koningsdam. The bottom line from this chart is that a week on the Seabourn Encore is going to be about double what you would find on the Discovery Princess or the Holland America Koningsdam in a mini suite. But I want to dig into it a little bit further. I chose the mini suite on the Discovery Princess and the Vista suite on the Holland America Koningsdam because these are similar experiences in the cabin. So you have a bedroom area that can be closed off from a couch and desk area plus your balcony. Now on Discovery Princess and Koningsdam, these aren't considered full suites, so you don't get full suite perks. So that's an important difference to keep in mind. Also, the itineraries are a little bit different. On the Seabourn Encore, you're going to have more time in the inside passage because the cruise ends in Juneau. On the Discovery Princess, you'll go all the way to Whittier, which is the pathway to Anchorage, and then on the Koningsdam, it's a round trip Vancouver. You can obviously see the big difference in size when it comes to 600 versus 3,600. Now, when I say 3,660 in lower berths, that is not the total capacity because there are upper berths. So meaning cabins that can have 3 or 4 people. Now, if those cabins were all full, if every bed possible on board was full, the Discovery Princess can get up to 5,000 people. In the same way, the Koningsdam, if every bed was full, those 3 and 4th person rooms, you can get up to 3,600 on the Koningsdam. So these are large ships. When it comes to the drink package, you're going to find a higher level of alcohol available on the Seabourn Encore and included. For specialty dining on the Encore, that is only going to be Solis, though I would argue that the quality of food you get at the patio, the Colonnade, and the restaurant exceeds what you get in a lot of specialty dining restaurants on both Princess and Holland America. Princess, when you have the Princess Premier, that does include unlimited specialty dining. That is what I priced here on Holland America. Under the current promotion, you get 1 specialty dinner and you can choose Pinnacle Grill. I would choose Pinnacle Grill if I was you. Gratuities are included, and then shore excursions are technically not included on any of the cruise lines, but they do offer onboard credit that can be used for shore excursions. Now, this pricing was accurate as of July 16th at 2:16 p.m., and it was under 2 current promotions from both Princess, Holland America, and Seabourn for savings on these voyages. Pricing and availability is always subject to change. So what's the verdict? Was it worth it? Absolutely 100% worth it for the 14-night itinerary. Combining the sort of regular ports with some optional Zodiac rides, and then having that second week where you're going more off the beaten path, you're going to smaller fishing villages, you're doing more scenic cruising, was 100% worth it, and really a unique experience to the Seabourn Encore. There aren't a lot of other cruise lines doing that type of itinerary where you kind of get the best of both worlds. When it comes down to just comparing the 7-night popular ports to the 7-night popular ports, I still would select the Seabourn Encore because of the expedition team and having that outdoor dining option for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think it adds so much to your experience. It is gonna rain. You're gonna have rain in Alaska, but the fact it's covered, the fact it's heated, the fact you have blankets really lets you enjoy being outside no matter what the weather is. And that was really important to me. Now, as always, if the price is a difference of you going versus you not going, I always say you should go. Let's figure it out. Even if you have to go in an inside on a 6,000 person ship, it's better to be in Alaska than not be in Alaska. But if you do have the budget and you are trying to compare the different experiences, I personally thought it was worth it. I also think it's important to compare other cruise lines and what they're looking at. That's what I do with my clients. So when you contact me and you say like, I wanna go to Alaska, we go through like big ship, small ship, what's important to you? What do you want to see? What animals do you want to see? You know, how is this all going to work? What time of year do you want to go? And then we can really get down to the pros and cons based on what's important to you. But for me, I absolutely thought traveling on the Seabourn Encore was worth it. I highly recommend the 14-night itinerary. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna do a whole video about why I recommend the 14-night itinerary coming up soon, but I absolutely recommend the 14-night. I think it's well worth your time. I think it gives you a beautiful landscape of the different things in Alaska, the different sceneries, the different wildlife. What do you think? Have you been to Alaska? Have you been on the Seabourn Encore? I'd love to hear your thoughts.